Good afternoon. I was told I have to introduce myself, not something that I am used to doing. I love to say, hi, my name is Caroline, and then I have to add something. Former radio presenter, and now a media aficionado. That's what I like to say, okay? So this afternoon, please ignore my notes. They're all font size 20 because I can't read. Later on, I'll tell you why I'm tired. So I'm going to go through this in 3 ways. First, I'm going to give you like Media 101, the stuff they don't tell you. And then I'm going to tell you how you do create a digital brand. This personal brand thing, somebody else is going to do that. And then I'm going to tell you about myself and how I work and navigate this space, okay? So 8 years ago, this September, I made a decision that I did not want to find myself at my 40th birthday saying 22 minutes past 7, this is Kiss 100. Coming up next is Rihanna. And that was tough because I knew that I did not want to be 40 years old and backhanding Rihanna. And there's nothing wrong with that. That was my personal decision. But to be able to figure out what next, I had to figure out what next, okay? And so I took myself to school. And I also needed a safe space to be able to say, I can't do this anymore because I couldn't say it in the country and I couldn't say it in the building at Radio Africa. I couldn't because I had the gig, I had the salary, I had the prestige. You can't turn around and tell people, ain't working for me anymore. You would just look crazy. And I'm sure as I walked off air, you all thought I was nuts. Because what did I do? I went off and started on YouTube with 1 view and 1 viewer. But that's how you build audiences, but we'll talk about that. So this thing we do, okay, on digital platforms, this influencer marketing, you've got, and I understand that by and large, everybody's between the age of 20 to 35, which means technically you're all 15, okay? I'm 92, but I hydrate, okay? So what do you need to understand? TV and radio have been the best way for the longest time for brands to reach a mass audience and remain so, okay? Is that audience being eroded? Yes. However, there was no other way. And then comes the internet. And then comes Google. Now, this is very important you understand about Google, and I've talked about this before. Very quickly, Google understands we have an audience.
Recording in progress.
So they understand they have an audience because every time you want to know something, you go there. And they're like, we must monetize this audience. You must do the same. You must create an audience that can be monetized, okay? But Google started off by serving advertising for businesses that couldn't afford to be on Super Bowl. You know what I mean? They were businesses that had budgets that were probably barely $5,000, $300, probably $100. And Google understood that, all right? And as that became a bit more clear that they were reaching people where they were, over here, digital marketing came into being. Influencer marketing was not happening then, okay? And that's what we must also understand, that marketing will always look for the quickest way to get to the person who they need to buy their product, convincingly. Coca-Cola back in the day used to say this thing called cost per thousand. It used to drive me crazy because for every dollar Coca-Cola spends, they want to know what's the cost per 1,000 people. And if your rate card and your audiences don't math together, you're not getting their spend. And I think they're still doing that even today when it comes to digital platforms. They're asking themselves, for every dollar we spend, how many people do we reach? And then how many people do we convert? There is a method to this business, and you've got to understand the method. Otherwise, you'll be saying, why are you paying Caroline Mutoko that much and Ulmen Patia 10K? Well, first and foremost, I've been here a minute. But secondly, I think I can understand the science of how they work, and I take time to understand that, all right? So it's very important you know that. Now, the internet comes, and then Facebook, and then Twitter, and then Instagram, and then TikTok. So first and foremost, Facebook was great. Now, I can tell you I was very late to Facebook. One of the first people at Radio Africa to get onto Facebook was Maina Kageni. And I remember there was a time it was like, you guys should get on. And Roy Karuza asked him, can we make money? And he said, no, but you can meet people. We all moved on. Yeah, by the way, incidentally, I don't get onto a platform that I don't understand what it will do for me. I just don't. So I've got people saying, but you're not on TikTok yet. I'm like, yes. However, 3 years later, I got onto Facebook. And I realized it was a great way to tell my audience what was happening on the show, pictures from the show. That was great. But you're still looking at this thing and wondering, no, hii kazi yote nafanya, dozi iko wapi? And remember, Facebook took a long time to give us a monetization model. I mean, YouTube already had that and we're running away with it. And what you need to understand once again is brands are looking for route to market. Route to market, and it's got to be tight, it's got to be clear, it's got to be targeted. But if you think about television and radio, we're always like, we reach 25 million people every morning. Yes, but are they the ones who can buy a Coke? No, I mean, so you can imagine for the longest time, it was guesswork. What did digital do? Digital took the guesswork out of targeting people. If today you want only females aged 25 to 30 with 2 children who live in a flat in Nairobi, work and go to school part-time, you can get them. You can. Back in the day, when I was on radio, you couldn't do that. You put money on my show and you hope something would stick. Okay, so the science of hope died with the digital era. I mean, people and their budgets and the clients you're all upset with. It's not wows you're upset with. It's actually the clients you're upset with. They're looking for the quickest route to the person they want and to make that person purchase. Okay, but something else you need to understand: the number of messages. For the longest time, I think the rule was the average person is exposed to about 1,500 messages a day. I don't know who's got a calculator right now, but let's try it like this. If you look at my show back in the day, I'm on air for 4 hours. I have 4 commercial breaks. Each break has 4 commercials, and that's just in 4 hours. And then my news is sponsored. Weather update is sponsored by Mortin Doon. Traffic is sponsored by Shell. What was that thing? Kiss Kids, who I loved very much. I don't know why we got rid of them. It's sponsored by Ribena. By the time I come off air, you already have 150 messages. And then there's the billboards you see on your way to work if you're sitting in a matatu. And if you're sitting like this, everything, down to the necklace I'm wearing, the earrings if I tag something, 1,500 messages. There's got to be a way to cut through the clutter and get to the person you want. Hence digital marketing. So here's the thing. As a result, marketers discovered that influencer marketing offered a solution. Okay, they knew if Helen said, this is the moisturizer that works for me, every female that has the same issue as Helen or admires Helen's skin will go and try it at least. Okay, rather than stick it on a TVC 30 seconds, 45 seconds of nothing, but a chick doing this, and they pay crazy money for that. So here's the other thing. The internet and influencer marketing also democratized the so-called creative process. If you ever worked for an advertising agency, you know that just shooting an ad, first and foremost, we used to fly to India, don't even joke. Yeah, so there's flight, there's what, and then, 10 million shillings down, you've just produced the ad. Now you have to place it. That's a whole other budget. So what did we do in influencer marketing? We allowed literally the brand not to have to deal with the madness of, can I see a storyboard? All right, so that's what we did. And the other thing is consumers became skeptical about everything they saw. We and you actually, forget my people are not like you, but you're the generation who will read comments about a product even before. You go to Amazon and first thing you do is you look at the comments. If it doesn't have 4 stars and above, you're not touching it. You're not touching it. So consumers became skeptical of brands and trust was needed because actually a brand is built on only 2 things. And that is my brand, your brand, and Coca-Cola. A promise made, a promise delivered. A promise made, a promise delivered. If you don't have that, it's not a brand, okay? And you can imagine where people are skeptical, it's like, mbona hiyo kitu wanafanya? Actually, mimi nilikuwa na experience mbaya. That is the end of that product, whether we like it or not. You will not touch it. But chances are, if you see something that your friend, your buddy said, I think we're going to try that, and 3 of you, 4 of you, 5 of you say you're on, that's influencing. First and foremost, before I go into anything else, allow me to explain that influencing has been here since the time of Jesus. He was the macro influencer. His disciples were the nanos. Simple as that. So was Napoleon, so was Hitler. And I think if Napoleon is too far, and I have to keep remembering you're all 15 years old, let's work with Donald Trump. In the last 5 years, I don't think, other than the Kardashians, you have seen influence of that nature. But if you keep Donald Trump in the back of your mind, you must understand this, that if you had to sell a message or a product to redneck Americans, the only person who could speak directly to them was Donald Trump. He was key influencer. Key. For a certain kind of people, you haven't seen, I mean, Twitter had to say, Boss Apana. At some point, they were like, no. Have they let him back? And they won't, because he's disruptive. He is a study in guerrilla marketing, completely. Because he would say lame stuff. You know, we're all sitting here in East Africa wondering, atuakwaje. But let me tell you, his base believed everything he said. His base believed everything he said. He was, probably has been for the longest time, the biggest influencer we have seen in this generation. So remember, influencing is not limited to who we are in this room. Okay? What do you need to look out for as you get into here? I hope I've been able to make you kind of understand how they buy us. Because remember, they were buying TV and they were buying radio, but literally it was a shot in the dark. And then all of a sudden they're like, I want to reach only Grace Musalame's friends. So they go and get Grace because they want a woman like that. Okay? And they knew that if they get that right, they get it. And it works. That's the thing, it worked. But unlike most marketing strategies, influencer marketing requires a high level of trust between the brand and you. And that level of trust is you. You. Okay? So Coke is sitting here. Coke needs to reach her, but they need a route, and the route is you. That's where influencer marketing comes in. A brand must be sure the influencer's content aligns with their overall image. I'll look at the camera and Coca-Cola, I'm sorry, I'll continue using you because you're like, ugh. But I know that you will never see me do Coke. Not because I don't drink one, but because nobody believes I drink a soda. And this is also true. I'm a Minute Maid mom. Even when I'm entertaining, I buy Minute Maid. I'm one of those mothers who's like, when it comes to soda. And I think Coke knows that. So I love everything Coke does. I'm one of those people who intrinsically loves the marketing of Coca-Cola. I love how they do that thing where when they pour it into a glass of ice and it kind of does that crackle that makes your throat dry immediately. I'm like, you guys know how to do this thing. But I know I'm never going to be the one they reach out to. Okay? And this is what is important, that a brand must be sure that the influencer's content, who you are, aligns with them. Otherwise, it doesn't work at all. Okay? So you also have to take notes and think about, who am I? Which brands am I hoping will come looking for me? And do I align with that area? And I'll give you a few examples. Now, influencer marketing is a relationship between a brand and a person that others listen to and believe. Simple as that. Okay? And literally, and this is sometimes where we do ourselves a disservice, and especially for the younger ladies in the room, you're constantly trying to be somebody else. We can see through it. Audiences are like dogs, they can smell you. So anytime you're literally not being yourself, they get it and they move on. If you're overdoing it, they get it and they move on. That means the day you come and say, drink this, they're like, hell no, we know you. Okay? Now, for example, this is an aim. Is it? Nobody believes this is mine, but do you know it's mine? I stole it from somewhere. We all steal biros. But if I was sitting here with a Mont Blanc, you'd instantly believe it was mine. Do you understand? There's got to be believability in who you are, and then you have to be consistent. And I'll come back to that. You cannot confuse influencer marketing with celebrity endorsement, because it goes beyond taking a picture of a person who is known and sticking them on a box of Weetabix. It's not the same thing. There must be a belief that you live the brand, you work it, you consume it, you understand it, you believe in it. And that's the difference, okay? Influencers must typically possess knowledge or experience about what they're advertising. And this is where we go a little crazy. Most of us are known for nothing. You have spent so much time taking selfies of your eyebrows, and for the guys, your sneakers, and that's all we see. And we're like, who are you? We don't know what you stand for. We have really no idea what it is you do consistently that defines who you are. And let me use an example of fitness bloggers. That's what they do. So when somebody is looking, and they will make sure they give you a video every day. They'll make sure they show you when they're drinking their water, doing their press, and they're clear. This is what I am great at. So that when water comes, a protein shake, fitness wear comes around, they know who to talk to because you own that space. I still think Chef Ali and Dennis Ombachi are very interesting in their own way. Chef Ali is Chef Ali, you know what I mean? I mean, every time he does that thing, he always starts with the camera and then he shows you the biryani and then he moves away. Every time he does that, you're like, boss, now I have to watch this thing, even if I'm not gonna cook it. On the other hand, Dennis Ombachi, he will cook on a block. Literally, he will put out a block of cement here and make a meal and make you wonder, why is it I don't cook more often? They are both in the food space, but it's who they appeal to and how. Dennis almost makes it look like we can cook anywhere, even on my balcony, okay? And holding my son with one arm. Chef Ali makes you understand, hey, you gotta do this, let's do it properly. Let's spend 30 minutes here and make a proper meal. Same thing. But the beautiful thing is, cooking oil, oh dear Lord, cooking oil can easily talk to both of them, but the execution will be different. But you know why? Because if you get 10% of your market from Chef Ali, get another 20% from Dennis, and go and look for Pika Chakula to do, you're good. But what have these people done? They own their space. They own their space. This is what they do. And a lot of us don't own anything. Tukotu, lakini eyebrows ziko on fleek, kicks are on, our shirts are great, you like to show us what you're drinking, and we're like, okay, you cute. What do I do with you? You've got to give your potential advertiser something to work with, okay? On occasion, an influencer may not have experience relevant to the product, and I am one of those. And sometimes I will get a brief and I'm like, me? Once the meeting has ended, you sidebar the agency, you're like, Mimi. They're like, yeah, because you are not the thing people would expect, they will take another look. But please still deliver it authentically. And I have to remember that I can't pretend that is something I've always wanted. A lot of you have been asking, no, you will never hear that one from me. However, that said, I have been asked two questions that are so bizarre. In the last couple of months, I've driven a Jeep that I got from somebody, and I also drove an Explorer. It's the new Defender. And somebody asked me, so what's the difference between the two? I have that video, but that's legit. And none of you would believe me if I reviewed a Nissan Sunny B14. But a Defender sounds like me. So on occasion, yes. And you will be used for the fact that sometimes what the client needs to do is get people to take another look at their brand. Maybe the brand has had a wallpaper effect, after a while. And the only way to re-energize it is to make it look different. Yeah? I mean, if EABL tomorrow had me doing beer, all of you would be like, wait, what is going on? But we have achieved something there. Yeah, we have achieved something there. It's a pity I wasn't well. I couldn't be at the White. Sorry, I couldn't be at the White Cap launch. I was not well. Yes, in case they're watching. But that would have worked because that's kind of like my beer. Beer gives me gas. So the other thing is influencers operate independently. Yes, you do definitely check in with a mothership, whether that's the agency or your client, but you're very independent. You think about how best to bring something to life. And you've got to remember that is your job, okay? You choose how you want to portray a brand, you've got to be authentic, and of course, you've got to be very clear who it is you're reaching out to. So this is where I am not going to be nice. You can all go. As you embark on this journey, my friends, first and foremost, this is a career and it is a job. If you think it's a hustle, you can drop off the call right now. Because this is the problem. You think it's a hustle, you treat it like a hustle, and then you don't understand why you don't have work consistently. If you treat it like a job and you wake up and you act like this is what I do every day, and by the way, my favorite people, doesn't matter what you guys say, Millie and Kabiwa Jesus, those guys came to work. They have no other way to pay bills, and now they're going to have 2 children. Have you seen school fees in this city? Don't joke. But if you don't consider this a career or a job, you're actually wasting your time. Stop. Use your Instagram, use your TikTok to entertain people, but stop acting like you don't know why you're not making money. It is a career. And because it is a career, you will do the 10,000 hours. You will do the 10,000 hours. I'm sorry, you will do the 10,000 hours, which means you will create consistently. You will do and do. You will churn out content every day until such a time where your content rises to the top and people actually talk about it. One of the things, and you know, I have a little bit of an unfair advantage over some influencers because remember, my job on radio taught me 2 things, that I had to be polarized, okay? Polarization means I can't be lukewarm. I'm either hot or cold. I cannot be kidogo hivi. Because being lukewarm is also like really, really lukewarm coffee. It tastes bad. Either it's hot or it's cold. It's an iced coffee. It's a frappuccino. But you can't be somewhere in the middle. Okay? But so number one, I understood I have to be polarized. And the reason why when I was on radio and even now, you cannot ignore me is because I don't come to stand in the middle. I don't. And I can't afford it if a client is going to get attention for what they want. I can't. You've got to be very clear about who you are and what you bring to the table. Very clear. And you're going to have to do your 10,000 hours. One of the things we used to be rated on, I don't know whether radio presenters are still rated on this today, is, are you quotable? I can be quoted. You all quote the same one. Don't live an average life. I've said a lot of things in my life. Please update yourself on other stuff I've said. But, you know, the 10,000 hours matter. Doesn't matter who you are. If you don't believe me, get Michael Jordan's book, Driven from Within. Now, I don't know whether you know that by NBA standards, Michael Jordan's actually not tall. He's not. And if you ever meet his mother, she wrote a children's book called Salt in His Shoes, because she used to tell him if she put salt in his shoes at night and he wore them the next morning, he'd be tall enough to be a basketball player. But yes, but his book is called Driven from Within. So he, once the team was done training, would do 100 free throws. When everybody else went to the showers, he would do 100 free throws. And why did he do that? Because it's what made sure that every time he was on the court for a real game, it was just like a drill. You've got to do the 10,000 hours. Decide how you're going to do it. You can cut down the work in half. I'm not saying 10 years. I'm saying 10,000 hours. You can do it in 2 years. You can do it in 3 years. It's up to you. But you got to do the time. Do you know how strange it is when you finally meet a client who says, oh, that was wonderful. It worked. You're like, I've been here a minute. You know, I've been here a minute. Of course, I could have told you that myself. But you'll be surprised that you've been doing it and doing it and doing it. And then one day they get up and they look at you. I remember a very good example, Aziad. I was like, does that girl ever frown, first and foremost? Because she's always like. But then everybody was like, she's been dancing a minute. Where? I hadn't seen her before even you, huh? You hadn't seen her before that song. But apparently, she'd been doing her thing. And then he took one hit. And she was all over the place. You've got to do the 10,000 hours, I'm sorry, okay? You must be known for something. You've got to be known for something. And it has to be, even if it's not, I am not a chef, I am not a sports aficionado, I am not known for childcare, no. You need to be known for how you deliver, what you're good at, and ultimately your ROI. No one woke up in the morning to give you money for free. Return on investment is real. No one is going to wake up in the morning to give you money for free. ROI is important. Very important. For every dollar anybody spends on you, they want $2 back, or 3 or 4. You better be known for ROI. But be known for something. What you deliver, how you deliver it, and definitely return on investment. Nobody woke up. By the way, nobody owes you a living. And I think I can say this Because sometimes you're a generation that's a little entitled, a little, not very, but a little. And you feel you're owed. Why aren't you giving me money for? Why aren't I on Tankery? Why is it always Kina Joy Kendi? Because that girl's a beast. I mean, you watch her put her stuff together and you're like, even sometimes I'm like, but I know her. I know her, we've hung out. And then I see her at work and her beast mode comes to life. Now, that girl doesn't have, one of you can check for me, Joy Kendi has not even scratched the 500,000 mark on Instagram, has she? No. But her beast mode is here. And what you do know about Joy Kendi is she delivers. And it's how she delivers. And the fact that if all you're looking for is awareness, that girl has got you. If all you're looking for is to shake the market a little creatively, that girl has got you. You got to be known for something, my friends. You just can't be about, this hair is so cute. Yes. Please ask your boyfriend to tell you how cute you are. Are you believable? Are you believable? And especially when you're the sort of person who does what I do, where I speak. This is my gift. This is my thing, my gab. But when I say it, do you believe me? Do you reach out and do something? Okay? What's your social capital? Oh, you're going to hate me for this one. Y'all do nothing. You post pictures of yourself turning up. Oh, me and my friends. Oh, it was late. I don't know what else you do. I have never seen you wish standard dates good luck. I haven't seen you, and you dance to everything, even when you're doing dresses. So I don't know why you don't have a 5-second jig to say good luck. You don't touch anybody's life. You're all about yourself. I mean, the narcissism in you is shocking. Without social capital, you can't get other people to buy from you. Okay? There must be something you do that endears audiences to you. And it's got to be real. It doesn't have to be often. But it's got to be that sort of thing. You know, actually, this is therapy for me. Do you know what still drives me crazy to this day? I've been off air 8 years. Why is it when you all want something to trend, you come looking for me? Go look for those people who have microphones. Why are you still looking for me? And when I stopped getting mad, because I'm like, I exited a space so another generation of young men and women could take over, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's what I'm known for. I fix shit. Sorry. But I fix things. So a part of me is like, no, you don't understand. I literally stage left, I left. I didn't hang on. I had to create my next. And I needed to leave so that Ardell can be. I needed to leave so that Linda Nyangweso can be. I needed to leave so Kamene can be. And I want you to go to them when you want something done. But when I come off the crazy, because it's crazy, I still understand that what I have today is that I'm borrowing the goodwill of the very people who are buying land in Mbuko. And because that goodwill is what they use, I must do the other thing that they want me to do. And that's my social capital. Because I did that for 14 years, and after 14 years, you believe that I fix things. But please come here understanding this platform don't belong to William Pike and Patrick Kwaku, so I'm going to rip you on if you come after me badly. Okay? But that has always been me. It's very important. What's your social capital? What are the things that matter to your audiences that you get into? Let me give you a terrible example. It's a fantastic one. You all love gossip. Edgar went right there and then made money from it. Udaku na nyinyi. But he gets it. He gets it. And because he gets it, he gets you. And what does he do once in a while? He looks for a social cause. I think he's currently promoting the amount of research I had to do, talk to you people. Woo. I think he's promoting justice for baby. Yes. That is social capital. That is social capital. I don't have to touch it because, like I told you, my job was to exit stage so another generation of young men and women could own spaces. The world is too big for me to claw onto one thing forever. I'm not a politician, talky. No. But when I want to lend my voice, and actually I know it was on Twitter, I retweeted it myself. Not my admin, myself, because I think it's a really important issue. It's a really important issue. Where's your social capital? And it doesn't have to be the warrior issues. But do you connect with where your audiences are? Last week, I remember I fueled. I drive a truck, and my truck takes V-Power. My friends, I fueled, I was like, I sat for a minute, I handed over my card, I watched it go transparent. And then I looked at the guy serving me, I was like, you know, if you're going to serve something that expensive, get a tux, buana. Get a tux, get a bow tie, because you cannot be. And I remember putting that up because it was in my mind. But I can't also be pretentious, okay? Did I feel the hit? Because that's not what my pump price usually looks like? Yes. Am I okay? Yes, I am. So I can't be pretentious. I can't say, oh my God, this is a Kalinatua, your war in Russia needs to stop. This is just garbage. That's not me. But I can tell you for a fact, I had a moment at the fuel pump. I was like, hey, how long can we do this for? And you know, you have a conference with yourself. You're like, maybe V-Power ain't everything after all. Yes, maybe it's time to just do unleaded. There's no point of going and saying, you know, you roll down the way, Jazza, V-Power. But that for me is my truth. I'm not going to pretend that it hit my bottom line. But for another person, it did. How do I become part of a social conversation and remain true? I don't have to pretend to cry at all, but I can be part of what you're talking about. I also think that oil prices is good. Kwanza za kupika, we'll all be healthier. Tuendelee. Are you chasing numbers or are you chasing quality numbers? A lot of you are like, help me get to 100,000, help me get to 10,000, we need to grow by what are you chasing? Because if you ever speak to any person who works within the social media space, they'll tell you numbers are vanity matrix. They're very vain. What's the quality of your numbers? Another person I love is Sharon Mundia. Now, a lot of you probably sit there and you think, but Sharon barely, what are Sharon's numbers? She's about what, at 200,000? Could you check for me? I'd hate to. Now, what I love about what Sharon has is that when a client is looking for a very affluent female with an affluent leaning and a female who aspires to that level of affluence, they look for Sharon. Here's your question. Are you about the numbers? I have 2 million, or I have more followers than Caroline. How come she got that job? Because, I don't know about you, but do your followers buy houses? 45 million shillings worth of house? No? Okay, tusionge. Atuko kwa WhatsApp group moja tafadhali. And that's for me is also what's important. Are you chasing numbers or are you chasing quality numbers? Because when Wowzy sits down with Scanad, whoever it is, and they're looking for a fit to their product. Like I said, I will never be Coca-Cola, but I am Minute Maid. So it doesn't matter how many numbers I have. It doesn't matter. If I am not a natural fit for their product, it doesn't work. The only reason my phone is here, one, I want to take a picture of all of you, is that I was looking at Goshen acquisition. So Solomon Wangwe writes to, and he says, so he sent this. This is notifications from their website, okay? Because of the post I put this morning. And he said, big notifications since your post went live. We will break a record today for single day engagement and lead generation. That is my only job. If you're looking for lead generation, come talk to me. If you're looking for ROI, come talk to me. If you're looking for somebody who can dance, and not me. And I don't catch feelings. Okay, I know who I am. Okay, I'm a money maker. That's who I am, and I don't have a problem with that. I'll never be cool. I'll never be zen. Okay, and I will watch all of you. But you've got to be very clear about what it is you do. So are you chasing numbers or quality numbers? Chase quality. That will be determined by what you put out and how. What you put out and how will determine the quality of your audiences. A client looking to sell body lotion has got to know that for you, skin is still a big thing. But you're looking for quality. Because if you've got 2 million people who follow you on IG or on Facebook, and none of them will open even a 500 deposit bank account, what's the point? Your 2 million people are all voyeurs. They get on every day to see, ameva nini, wacha niambie wengine. You've got to be very clever about this. And intention is very important in what you do. Have a look at Just Ivy. She's so intentional. And trust me, the industry is going to wait her out, okay? Because here's the thing. The world will test you to see how long you're willing to stay the course. Because when you stay the course, it defines who you are. And once it defines who you are, the money comes in. Watch Just Ivy. Her and her Money Mondays, she's consistent. She's consistent. But what has she got? Females who want to be financially independent. If a bank is looking, I don't know why you don't speak to Ivy. Because she's so passionate. She so badly wants to be a dollar millionaire. I had lunch with her. I was like, okay, so I guess I'll just sit on her board when she finally makes money. Because she's hungry and she's genuine about it. I've talked about Ombachi, the roaming chef. He's very committed to what he does. I think there's space for him to venture into his kids because he does a fantastic job there. I don't know why diapers are not talking to him because he's such a hands-on dad. And to the guys watching, there isn't enough male influencers in the market. There just isn't. I mean, the female space is crowded without a doubt, but men who lend themselves to whatever the space is and understanding what is needed are not enough in money, in life, in building. And there's so many brands, condoms. I mean, come on, guys. The money, follow the money. Follow the money. Get in the door. Woo! This is where I get thrown out. Okay. It's very easy to say no because you feel you should have been given, I don't know, 50,000. But do you know how crowded this space is? You have to get in the door. You have to get yourself on the media planner. You have to be, so I don't know whether you know this, but a lot of the important decisions are always made when you're not in the room. You do know that? Okay. So if you're not on the consideration, it's a problem. It means you've not even given yourself a chance to prove what you can do. And it's because you're saying, mbona mnampigia, nasikia mulipatia Caroline Mutoko 150. By the way, I've never been paid so little. Yes. No, really. But somebody will turn around and say that, why are you offering me 10? Well, I've been here a minute. And my ROI is there, okay? But the thing is, there are meetings where my name is said and somebody says she's a bit expensive. But my name is said. Please get in the door. In a world easily, how many of us do you think there are? Easily. 5,000, 6,000 of us? Where's Wowzy? Wowzy in the house? How many people have you got on the database? Hey, how many on the database? 7,000. My friend, get 70. No wonder you've only called me twice. 70,000. Please get in the door. Get in the door. Show what you got. It's like a night at the Apollo. Do your stand-up. Get called back the next day. But when there's 70,000 of you fighting for the same budget, nobody got time for your ego. Sorry. And then you're like, hawapendi watu kama mimi, and then wanafikiria mimi ndio nani, na hizi nguo zinanunuliwaje. Oh, please. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. Get in the door. Because here's the thing. The money will still be spent. The budget has been allocated. The money will be spent. It will not be spent because you did not come along. Get in the door. Get in the door. 70,000. I was telling the ladies from Wowzy, one of the things that for me was interesting about how I got paid when my career started is because Kiss 100 was the 14th radio station in the market. 14th. Today frequencies are 370 something. Somebody check on the Communications Authority website. Now here's the thing. Because every 6 months or so the competition tried to take me, I never asked for a pay rise. They paid me. They was like, continue making money for us. But my contract had a gratuity in it. I got paid for every year I didn't leave. No, never going to have that happen to you. Why? Because the universities are churning out radio presenters daily. I didn't study media. I think one of the most awkward things for me was every time a woman comes up to me and says, will you talk to my daughter? She wants to go and do media. I'm like, University of Nairobi, Econ and Maths. I got into media and I still haven't studied media. went back and did an AMP in media, thanks to Linus Gitahi a couple of years ago, but that's the first time I actually studied the science of media. But you've got to get in the door. 70,000, and that's just on Wowzy's database. So you're there going, but I'm going to pay 5K. I mean, please prove what you can do with 5. By the way, nobody's in the business of stealing from you. And even today, I get clients who come to me with, and I'm like, are you serious? You want me to deliver this for this? And I always say, you know what? I don't think this is the right time for us to work together. However, I will share with you a few contacts that I have who might be able to work within your budget. It's okay, it's a small town. We'll run into each other. And anyway, whoever it is you choose for going cheap will probably fail. Then you have to come and pay me, and this time I won't negotiate. Image. Ooh, why did Wowzy ask me to add this one? We're building your digital brand. Ladies, how you carry yourself is important. Gentlemen, how you carry yourself is important. Do you understand that the marketing director at a company has to tell their CEO, this is the person who's going to carry our message for the next 1 month? Why? Why is your butt out there? Why? Why? Why are your boobs everywhere? Who told you that is the road to market? Who? Who told you? Do you understand that after the marketing director makes a decision to go with you because it's okay, all right? They understand what you can bring. The CEO signs it off, and then you start doing work, and his wife asks, really? You must understand, this is a proper buying decision. In the time you own a brand, and I remember this from my radio days, the reason you will deliver a Safaricom promotion on air with gusto is that you become the de facto messenger for that brand because the marketing manager can't do it. Now, how do you want them to see you? Unatakaje? Nafu unalia hujapata kazi, lakini angalia vile umejileta. And it's the same thing with the guys. It's the drinking, it's the cursing, it's the swearing, it's the misogyny. There are brands that will not talk to you if you're misogynistic. I'm sorry. And just in case nobody will say it, allow me to say it. The world of your grandfather is dead. We will penalize you for misbehaving. Grow up. Yes, you're entitled to your own opinion, but if your opinion actually steps on the toes of others, you're entitled to your rights cannot infringe on mine. Is this clear? I will go back to the first thing I said. It's a career, it's a job, it's not a hustle. And if this is a career and a job, and you're the CEO of that thing, because most of you are, please carry yourself like a CEO. You're the CEO of Helen Inc. You're the CEO of Caroline Mutoko Inc. You're the CEO of Evelyn Inc. Is this how you want to portray yourself? Is it really? And then you got an issue with the way that you are perceived, and then you got an issue with the way somebody else got it. You can't. You've got to think through this thing seriously. And if you take it seriously, it will take you seriously. Money does not go where it's needed, it goes where it's respected. Money goes where it's respected, okay? Image is important. Even how you come to meetings. I just met Teacher Wanjiku going up for a meeting, but I mean, there's a chick I know and there's a chick who showed up for the meeting upstairs. As a businesswoman, Teacher Wanjiku ni nyenye. I don't think she shows up for any meeting in a polka dot dress. Yeah? Jugosh, I have met him at briefings. I mean, he brings his business self to the meeting. And you really must bring your business self to the meeting. This, I can't say this enough, it's a career, it's a job, it's not a hustle. If you decide it's a hustle, we will treat you like it's a hustle. But you've got to be very serious that you are Teacher Wanjiku Inc. You are the business. And right now, until you grow exponentially, you're the CEO of that business. How is it that you don't carry yourself in a way that says you take yourself seriously so that we can take you seriously? I'm not saying you cannot express yourself. By all means, express yourself. But also remember, for every action, there is a reaction. So, I mean, do you, boo-boo, do you. Don't let me stop you, but don't whine about it, okay? Let's agree. You know, like the chicks who don't leave a bad relationship? Okay, but baby, we talked about this last week. You're staying? Then shut up about it. No, shut up about it. And the same goes for the guys. She's always asking me for money. Then get a chick who doesn't ask you for money. Shush. Bring your brand to the table. Bring the person you ultimately, somebody once told me, wake up and dress as the best version of yourself and then live like that the whole day. Okay? I mean, I'll be very honest. I dressed for you. I don't know you, but I dressed for you. I'd wear my usual black. I love black, but I was like, oh God, these people are gonna have to stare at me for an hour. Caroline, make an effort. But I've got to honor you. Simple as that. Nothing else, nothing crazy, but I've got to honor you. Let me tell you about me in the space of defining your digital brand. I'm an amplifier. You got a message that needs to go up a few octanes, find me. So when people ask me, so what do? I'm an amplifier. You got a message that's been running for 3 months and you can't seem to get beyond a certain, I will amplify you, okay? I spark conversations. I remember the first time I got the call out of London, of all places, to tell me, we want to talk about diaspora insurance for funerals. I was like, we're Africans, we don't talk about death. They said, yes, we get it, but we have to, because it's inevitable. And you sit with it. But when you can't crack it, call me, because that's the one I want. That's the one I need to get into, because that's my brand. I amplify, I spark, I recruit. I recruit because at the end of the day, I think by and large, I've had a certain amount of experience, exposure, and there's a way I see the world, and I want you to come into my world. I want you to come into my world. So I recruit, I convert. I love the fact that Solomon says very nicely that he's going to break a record in the number of lead generation. By the way, Vilentalala Leo, just that text from my client is enough. It's enough. But I recruit, I convert. I'm detailed. I'm very irritating, by the way. I'm the person who will ask a client, how are we doing? Ask Mizani, yes, you ask them, are we selling anything? I mean, my baby hairs are growing, like in trouser. Are people believing in this story? Because also for me, there's reputational risk. Remember, I am the product. Now, if you're not buying it and my hair is not growing, we're all in trouble. Because no one's going to believe me and that client is going to hate me. So I will ask, are we doing well and how are we doing? But clients know that I want to know. I want to know. And by the way, incidentally, there's some who don't even want to share a single bit of feedback. I've been asked to say something about feedback. Take it. Don't take it personally. It's not an attack. If you were told, boy, just use the camera in landscape, boy, do it in landscape so you don't have black bars. You know, if you're told, try and say it 3-4 times before you do your reel, do it. It takes about 10 takes. But if you do it often enough, it will take you 2 takes. Okay, take the feedback, ask for feedback. You'll be amazed what it does for you. You'll be amazed what it does for you. I'm willing to walk away if I feel my brand could be in trouble. Yeah, because I don't have anything else. All I have is this. And if you're going to hurt my brand, I'd rather miss this pay and take the next one. But I can't crash the bus at the altar of your madness. So there's a lot of people who know I can't say no. And that's okay as well. I go above and beyond. And this is something you also need to understand. Look, you don't own the platform, all right? It's not going to cost you anything. So even if the client has gone and asked for 2 videos, 3 Insta stories, and 1 Facebook post, you're not going to die if you do 2 more. Go above and beyond. What you're also trying to do is build relationships. And for the person who staked their name and their reputation at a meeting table on your name, make them look good. They will remember you. I don't know whether you know this, but business is about relationships. It's nothing else. It is relationships. It is relationships 100%. You could be the hottest gangster in town. If you're bad to work with, it's a problem. Okay? But you're not going to die if you say, you know what, you contracted me for 1 video, I did a second one. You contracted me for 2 Insta stories, but I felt we could only deliver this with 4. It's okay. That person will remember you. They'll remember you. I go above and beyond. I also play well with others, which is something most of you don't do. I'm happy to talk about another influencer who's doing the same job as I am. Because there's nothing wrong with amplifying their message, because it means for the client, they get earned media, okay? It takes nothing away from me. But sometimes also, I can't come up with everything. Just recently, I know we did Enjoy for Rubies, and I called Scanad and I said, Could you please let me know if it's okay if I can borrow from Maureen Waititu's and Nelly's stuff? And I let them know. I DM'd them and they said, go right ahead. But, why is it you don't play nice? What do you think is going to happen? Or maybe I just don't have scarcity mentality. But I'm very happy to amplify other people. I remember when I did Cha-Ching with Prudential, I said, okay, so you're going to start with me and then you're going to go on to Grace Musalame. And I was like, let's go. It's my job to pass on the baton. We're working on one thing. I mean, I win, they win. What's the problem? Play nice. This is like, no, this is my 2,000 followers. I don't want them looking at Caroline. Oh, please. I have a collective audience of 2.8 million. Keep your 2,000. I mean, really. But what does it take from you to be the sort of person who adds the ricochet? It's like a ripple effect. What does it take away from you to play nice? I mean, why do you think there's competition in everything? Your check is going to be your check. They're not going to share it with Teacher Wanjiko. Yours is still yours. But the only thing the client remembers is we liked working with him. He was really good. And he spent a little time talking about somebody else. I have never had a problem playing nice with other people. I will cross-promote. And by the way, it's a lesson I learned from radio, okay? In radio, we promote vertically and horizontally. So in the morning, you must talk about the evening show. In the morning, you must talk about the daytime show because you have the biggest audience, okay? And then you must promote horizontally. That means you need to say, on Wednesday, Adele will be hosting so-and-so. On Friday, so that is horizontally and vertically. You've got to do it, okay? You've got to do it. But understand what it means for your client. Like I said before, this is a career and a job is not a hustle. It's not a hustle, and don't make it a hustle. Conduct yourself as a business person, please. Be a professional and be about the business. Be about the business, okay? I can't remember how often, even when I was on radio, and I say I have an unfair advantage, but it's my competitive advantage, that, you look at a brief, you look at the phone that the client wants you to promote, you look at the one you own, you're like, aka kanoki and munataka, sawa, tuze. And we used to come in the morning, he says, chick, let's go, mari kwa mari. We, white cooking fat, small little Nokia phones or the size of my palm. I mean, you're not even sure it can catch the internet, but be about the business. For the 4 hours I'm on air, I'm being paid to do a job. Can I just get on with it? Nobody has said that is my phone, but I'd got to be in love with it. I remember Safaricom, literally, I think Wangari Morogo almost smacked me when she found out that I hadn't gotten onto, I got onto M-Pesa 5 years in. But did I sell the hell out of M-Pesa? Yes, I did. Because that's my job. Be about the business. Say yes when you mean yes. Say no when you mean no. Don't do things Shingo Pande. Not in this business. Your authenticity is very important. Understand that there's no shortage of voices in your space. You're fighting for a piece of the action. 70,000 on Wowzy alone. You don't want the 10K. Somebody else wants it. A brand, any brand, is built on two things. A promise made, a promise delivered. Take feedback and be about the job. Even on the days I can't think, I put together the content. I don't know whether you know, Nelly in Geek on Fashion, I don't know why I call her Nelly, but I guess this is something also with all of us. I don't know how to call Churchill. He's Daniel to me. So she's Geek on Fashion, but she's Nelly. And there are days, honestly, your brain is like, no, not today. But I gotta churn it out. So first, I keep my hair constant. And then I line up 5 tops and 4 changes of earrings. And then I go. By the time I've shot the first 3 videos, I'm on a roll. It is a job, guys. You can't wait to be inspired. And then I had a moment of inspiration. And then I call Mizani and say, I'm not feeling inspired. My hair is not looking good. Even with bad lines, I take off the wig. I'm like, Nona, nyole memea. But I gotta get on with it because it is a job. I do enjoy it because when I look at it, when it's done and edited, it looks good. But this is a career. It is a job. It is not a hustle. If you make it a hustle, you'll find it very hard to break through. And finally, please take what you're doing seriously. Open an account for your money. Separate your regular chums from your biashara chums. Get a till number, okay? So that you can also see how you're doing. See, this is a business. then make sure you have a business. And also, guys, hey, file your taxes. There's a lot of businesses that will not work with you without a TCC. File your taxes. You will lose out on work without it. But let's agree that we will not go down the route, sadly, that the music industry went through for the longest time, where you know you're putting in the time and the hours and you have the content and you have the talent, but it's not being recognized. And it's not being recognized because you're all about the art. Here's the problem with us. We're creatives, we're artists. So our business brain doesn't check in for a long time. We're like, this is what I like to do. This is what I like to sing. Mrs. I do not sing. No, Sifanya Genge, Sifanya. Oh God, please. Do you want to do this or don't you? Okay. But please understand, we are creatives. And unless we own the space we're in and take ourselves seriously, no one's going to take us seriously. And we'll end up in the same space as the music industry did for the longest time, where it was hard to get paid to show up, where people used to tell them, oh yeah, we'll give you a meal and transport. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? But if we don't understand this is a career and show people it's a career and a job and a business, we will be offered meals and products. Do you hear me? Have I been useless? Okay, thank you.
So there's a question from Kani asking how to position a brand to attract media invites, coverage, specifically in area that has less marketing penetration, for example, personal finance, debt counseling.
Personal finance and debt counseling.
Yes.
I still think the financial space, and Kanye, your question should have been handled by the people who buy media. The one thing I do realize without a doubt, that this is the truest generation that has a true interest in making money, holding to their money, and growing it, and from a very young age, okay? The people who are missing the bus is a financial institution. They're still trying to get me to open an account. I have 4. I got me a Standard Chartered and a few other currencies. But I can tell that the financial sector and the insurance sector have missed the bus on your generation. And I don't know whether it is because you don't seem to be talking the language of money unless you're complaining about your bank, or whether you don't consistently talk about it. But I also believe without a doubt, the banking sector have missed out on this, that you guys know for a fact that bank is something you do, not a place you go to. And they're still, for some reason, lost in where they were about 5 years ago. And you guys kind of leapfrog spaces very fast. And I think they need to catch up with you. But the truth is, you've got to create the content. I'm still in shock that they haven't caught up with people like Just Ivy. They haven't. I mean, I'm happy, anytime you say minimum deposit for a bank account is 100,000, that sounds like me. But me, 5,000? But so I actually think it's not the content creators, but also make yourself available, create the content, ask the questions. Because the more of those questions you ask, very soon someone will look in your direction. But I think technology got it. They targeted this market, 2018 to 35 heavily. Beverages in every form, got it. The insurance sector and the banking sector are not talking to. I think they're trying to talk at, but not talking to young women, first and foremost, because you chicks didn't come to play. What? I worry for anybody who stands in your way, you'll eat them. And I also think, without a doubt, young men, because how men perceive money and how women see money as security, men see money as an asset and an extension of themselves. And I can see it in the comms. I mean, banks are the only people who will still give us a billboard and not a single person has a tattoo. It's like, who's that? I mean, you can tell the creative is off. I mean, the creative is off from the very beginning because, that's not how young people look. They still want everybody to look slick like this. It's like, nah, the hair is blue. Yeah, so, I'm sorry. You got to get the person to do a whole other thing. But I don't think for Kanye, it's about the content creators. It's the industry in that space that has yet to come to the place, has yet to get to the place.
I'm so amazed. I'm just shaking. I don't know if I'm writing the right notes, but I'm in wow of what you do and trend setting. Then my question is, for some of us, I am a farmer. My brand is called Farmer on Fire. My name is Wangare. I farm in Kitengela. And for us, the industry, only very old people are farming, and most people, the buyers, are at that age. So when I go and approach, because I have to approach, I can sit and wait for them.
I'm telling you.
I go, let's say Amiran or John Deere or Boahol companies, and I give them about this influencer thing, and they think I'm joking because they're like, you want to be a socialite? So Wangari, what's going on? And because their target buyers are not of that age.
Yes, it's
true. But then I'm thinking 10 years, we need younger farmers. Otherwise, we won't have food. So how do you go about approaching the companies, the
other way around. I totally hear you. And it's true, when you talk to Amiran, I mean, you can imagine they roll out greenhouses, I don't know in what sizes, John Deere, they're looking for people who buy tractors. But once again, it's one of those things like the banking sector, the farming sector that forgot that the future farmers, so there's two things I believe, that the future billionaires are farmers. Because if there's one thing, let me tell you, if fuel prices become ridiculous, we'll park the car. We will eat. We will eat. Food is the next big thing. I mean, I hear eggs went up yesterday. See, I know these things. The question for me is, what's the nature of your content? And does it lend itself to a banking institution? I know there's farmers insurance that I know is not taken often enough, but it's there. Do you lend yourself to what the market can take up? Fertilizer, because you're seeing Amiran, John Deere. I can hear you talking about, like earth mover people. But yet in the same space is Kenchik, who do broilers, and they help people start off these things because that's all farming, it's all agriculture. And I think sometimes we turn our bodies this way because what I really want is I want to be able to work with Standard Chartered, forgetting that when it comes to young people, equity is just here. And equity has built their product on being accessible no matter who you are. And should you turn your body slightly to be able to talk to that person? Because when you turn away and all I see is your back, I guess you don't want to talk to me. And sometimes for all of us, sometimes we have to just tilt, the content a little to be able to say, hey, I'm over here, talk to me. I'm over here, talk to me. Because, and also remember, you also need to be talking to companies that have come into the 21st century. I have nothing against Amiran, I love them. My mother and I bought 2 greenhouses from them. But are they here yet? Are they here? Are they in the year 2022? And should you be speaking to people who understand the future of farming must be created today? I hate to use this as an example, but I've always felt that James Mwangi always knew the future of banking was young. He always knew. I think between co-op and equity, they get it. The rest of the players, especially in the tier one of the big boys, they're still talking to my father. And I'm thinking, my dad is 76. What's up with you? You're not talking to me in a way I like. You're not talking to me in a way I understand. I'm still waiting for a bank that will give me a children's account that makes sense. But you can't be holding my children's money until they're 18 and you give me nothing for it. No, I'll still buy T-bills for them. And so I'm one of those people who I will not open a children's account. I think it's the dumbest thing that I could do, but it's the smartest thing a bank can do. Because if you open a child's account and you put a standing order in it when your child turns 1, and the next time that child can access that money is at 18, that bank has got your money for nothing for 18 years. I am not that woman. I am not my mother. Come to me with a new story. And I think sometimes you got to push the market to respond. You got to push the market to respond, but turn your content to leave John Deere alone. They're looking for guys with 3,000 acres of land, right? Yeah, because they do machinery. But what do young farmers need? What do they want to know? If you go to my YouTube channel, it's a very amazing young lady who does strawberry farming. I like that. I think if you do more of that, the right people will come knocking on the door because she also needs some financing. And she doesn't need a lot, because her strawberry field started off like this room exactly. And I think that for me is the magic of farming, especially for young people, that they can grow. So in 10 years, they'll be the guys exporting horticulture. You guys have no idea. Food. It's everything. It's everything. Oh, dear God, it's everything. But well done. You're in farming. Wowzy, spotlight her.
Your nuggets of wisdom. Age old. You know, they are valuable since then till now. And personally, I'm not an influencer, but I appreciate the fact that Wowzy has brought together
yes,
influencers.
A marketplace.
Yes, it's a marketplace. And it has brought together professionals as well who participate in the area of also content creation and facilitating such businesses or such endeavors. So I would like you to advise, maybe, on the intellectual property rights. Yes. Yes. I'm an advocate. I think that's why I'm asking. I would like that aspect clarified.
Okay.
How do you grow your brand while at the same time working with other brands and protecting your intellectual property?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So it's very interesting you said this. Hi, Francis. And the reason I'm saying this is that I just signed another contract yesterday. Usually this brand would give me about 5 pages. 16 came this time around. And I wrote back because my lawyers pegged it. Incidentally, it sounds cool when I say my lawyers, y'all went to college with some guy who needs work. Come on, get your former classmate at Kabete. Where do the lawyers go? Parklands. Yes, to look through your work. It's like 2K, and then, shove it into the cost of what you do. All right? First and foremost, I think it's very important because there's 2 things that was on the contract. What was use of my image and use of my content. And the only thing I ask is, I've got to sign it off. I must sign it off. And I think I will leave it to Wowzy. If you could get an IP expert, Al-Kag's wife, Liz, I will give you her contact, is fantastic in this space. Lenjo, thank you. And yourself to talk about it because I guess because, like you said, age-old wisdom, I will not cry. I have learned the hard way that I need to look after my IP. So even when you look at what I put together, I still say this is copyright. Because what happens is, and I'm currently at war with somebody who wasted my time and then turns around and tells me they don't have the budget. And I wrote to them specifically, and I've got to put it in writing and say, if you use even one line out of the concept I gave you, I will sue you to Mexico and back. It's very important that because our content is literally out of our souls, our thinking, our ideation, we borrow the same contractual items that are sent to us and turn them into something that protects us. But I think, Wowzy, an IP conversation is necessary because there's some fantastic stuff out there. I mean, like Joy Kendi, when you look at what she puts out and how she puts it out, I think I'm an old player in the game. So I'm very clear. I'm like, you can use it like this. Let me know what you're cutting. Because I do the content pyramid, which means I will do a 10-minute piece and then you can break it down and then break it down again. So you repurpose items, but we sign off on those items together. I will tell you how long the material will be available to you. It will be available to you for 3 months. If it's like retail, real estate. Real estate is 6 months. I mean, it's not an FMCG, it's not Vaseline. You're not going to buy it in 2 days. So I totally understand that client needs about 6 months to be able to have that content work for them. But that's about it. Beyond 6 months or 3 months, whatever we agree on, you pay me royalties for using it. So really, Wowzy, up to you, but you definitely need the IP conversation. It's so important. It's so important. What a great question. Thank you. Thank you so much.
How do you differentiate between, let's say, a cheap influencer and the one who's up there? Because personally, I've gotten jobs which are like, you're paid 200. So I'm like, me personally as an influencer for 200, no. That's a no for me. I say no.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, is it bad saying no?
No, it isn't.
Or how do you differentiate between I can do this work personally because my numbers are, let's say 100K or 200K. I am basically for this work or for this work or for this work, so that they don't look at you and say this guy maybe anajidai anapesa ako juu ama kwaje. Yes, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't make the decision, but I'll tell you how I make the decision. There are brands that have walked in on me with, no, honestly, you look at the money, you're like, it can fuel the car for 2 weeks. Really, guys? And then I think about the profiling. Okay? I don't normally do trade-offs. I don't. But when Qatar called, and you can imagine the conversation, I'm talking about Qatar Airways. And this is something, they probably will listen to this. And I'm like, what do you mean you want to give me airline tickets? I already fly your airline. You know what I mean? And I understand you're giving me business class tickets. I haven't flown any other way in 20 years. Thank you very much. So there's that thing. And then I have to tell myself, but Caroline, there's a chance here to reach outside the continent, outside the border. So let's do this. But let's do it in such a way that it sets a precedent in another space. So I will take little money, number one, for relationships. Hi, Milka. She sent me the strangest budget for rubies, and I was like, but then again, I actually like the brand, and I like what we do, and I have a feeling that when they want to do something else, they'll talk to me. And you can always tell. If it's a one-off, it's a spark, you're wasting my time, I'll just say, look, at this moment, I don't believe that I'm the right person for you. However, I'm keeping my door open. When you do have the sort of budget that I'm looking for, we can definitely engage again. So that's the only reason I make the decision, a relationship, and a proper relationship. And secondly, whether just doing that job is about to catapult me somewhere else. Because there's value in that. There's a space I want to move into. And if that moves me into that space, I'm going for it. But you're allowed to say no. Yeah? And it's not that they make a decision between me and you. By the way, these people, if you see the analytical tools they have, they log onto our IG pages. They can tell what our conversion rate is, who's engaging, and how many of us have bots. You do know that, don't you? Yeah, they can pick out your nonsense in 10 seconds. So they will it's a pragmatic decision. I'll be very honest, it's a pragmatic decision. Sometimes the stuff, I'm like, you know what I'm worth. How are you coming to me for this? And they're like, honestly, Caroline, we need you, but budgets are what they are. I'm like, because it's you. And I will say it. And it's a relationship. And chances are I will get a call 3 months later, it's like, we got your kind of money. But I was in consideration. I can't take myself off the table. Yeah? But then there's some people I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It's also okay. Yeah. Tuko sawa. You go on your way. Yeah.